What is going on, guys? My name is Flinter, and I am here on the Expansive Worlds channel, and haggis, we're hunting Scotland. I'm sorry, that was terrible. Anyway, I'm here with Kyle, the lead game designer.
Hello, nice to meet you, everyone. Looking forward to tonight.
And I'm here with Ben, the lead narrative designer.
Pleasure to be here. Wish I didn't have to listen to that joke you just made. So, I was happy to be here until the very start, so maybe I'm not so happy to be here now.
I missed the punchline on that one.
I don't know whose idea it was to let me in here. It was, but yes, we're here on Scotland, which is coming out tomorrow on all platforms. New stream, who dis? Welcome on in, guys. I'm really excited for this. This is an amazing opportunity, and I don't even know where to begin with this map. Perhaps just by turning around and taking a look at that. Like, this really is a stunning map, and I want to, if I can, just for either one of you guys, why Scotland? Like, what is the inspiration, the reasoning why Scotland is the next map?
I think there's a real level of fantasy. Like, I think there's this kind of like weird division, I think, between why people go hunting in Scotland in real life. Like, obviously you have these huge beats of like stalking stag through the Highlands in, I think, probably one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Scotland, a really underrated country, beautiful country. And then you also have, of course, the drift and grouse shooting, which are like some of the most amazing hunts you can kind of find there. But also it kind of lets us dive a little bit into mustelids, which we haven't really done before. I know there's been a lot of talk about maybe badgers and minks and ferrets being on other maps as well. So we thought it was just a really, really good opportunity to shine a light on Scotland and also deliver on a bunch of new content players have been asking for. So yeah, really a lot of fun to work on, honestly. I really had a good time working on it.
Great. Do you have anything to add to that, Kyle?
Not really. I think the fantasy notes that Ben was bringing up kind of say it all. It's yeah, it's a breathtaking location, nice open views for shooting things as well, which always is kind of appreciated.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get the feeling you guys are talking about the fantasy and stuff, and obviously there's missions and things that we won't get into, but I get the feeling that's going to be highlighted a lot throughout like the story.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of the story stuff to go into. Yeah. So that's my realm, I suppose, is the story stuff. And obviously you don't want to give people spoilers for the missions if you're the kind of person who wants to play through those. But one of the big pillars I came into this reserve working on is about those myths and monsters. I think Scotland has a real amazing crop of legends. It's got some beautiful myths. And I wanted to kind of choose a bunch of them, especially the ones that have to do with hunting as well. And kind of carry them through into the final product, but also make some of our own to kind of make this fictional setting. So we've kind of blended a bunch of stuff that you'll find in the Highlands, Midlands and Lowlands of Scotland quite naturally, and also some special ones. And it looks like you got your first trophy.
Yes, sir. And by the way, some of the locations that Ben has just mentioned, we are going to visit those throughout the stream. And I've sort of made a point of not going there, because throughout early access, obviously, I've been all over the map, but I've not hit these particular spots, at least closely. So I'm excited to see sort of what's in store there. But look at this little dude. I love the European badgers. Like, they're literally, if you compare them to American badgers, I mentioned this, they're like just nice little gentlemen, just lovely little guys. And the 257, by the way, my goodness. Bring it to Scotland and you will have good things happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of this weird thing in, like, you know, you don't really hunt badgers in Scotland in real life. I mean, it has a very shifting legality otherwise, but it's not really the reason why people go hunting in Scotland. I think it's a really interesting challenge is like how can we make content that is interesting for players, but also kind of captures what it's like to hunt in real life in Scotland as well. So, I mean, you'll be doing a bunch of stuff that you just can't do in Scotland in real life. Like, you know, a lot of these things are quite protected, which is a continuing conversation that we're having on the team. Is like, what are people expecting to come and hunt, but also what do they kind of wish they could hunt in this fantasy hunting, basically.
Is that something, Kyle, that, like, being the lead game designer, is that something that you have to, like, you know, worry about and stuff with legalities and what can you hunt in real life? What is, like, for instance, tigers, right?
Yeah, I think like worry is probably the wrong word. There's a lot of opportunity in that, and offering like a fantasy, right, around like going to a place and big game hunting or whatever it might be that you're keen on. But it is always a question that you kind of have to understand, like, yeah, the kind of ground rules, how it might affect the culture of a spot, people in that location, and then just like make sure that you're framing it in a way that isn't, obviously super offensive to a bunch of people.
Right.
So, but I always, I think. It's hard to go to a location that has really unique and awesome animals and choose not to hunt them. This is a game after all, so it's kind of my line right now. But it is a consideration every single time. Yep.
I totally
It's also
agree.
communal. Like I need Ben, I need the rest of the team. Everybody has opinions about this kind of stuff. So yeah.
Like, I remember on Sudetan, and obviously we're going to talk about Scotland today, but I thought it'd be interesting to give some background. Like, we were really worried about the tiger, because obviously players really, really wanted to hunt the tiger. But we were kind of concerned, like, how is this going to go across? Like, is there... I think it's less about how protected the animals are, but more kind of how culturally important the animals are. So we actually had a bunch of consultants from Nepal who we would go like, is it going to be a bit of an issue if people are just slaughtering tigers, but like harvesting a lot of tigers, right? Is it going to be a problem? And they were like, nah, go for it, it's cool. It's like, great, cool, then that's what we'll do. And even then, I think we delivered things a bit more nuanced. Like, if you're someone who engages in the missions, which I know is a certain subset of player, you have the option to not actually harvest the tigers yourself if you want to. So we can come up with creative ways to do that. And coming back to Scotland, I think it's interesting for me to be able to kind of wrap a story where, like, it kind of makes sense for people in the world to be like, hey, this would actually be the process in the cases where you could harvest one of these animals, right? But, there's some issues with that, or that kind of thing. Like, we want to make it make sense within the world, but also not punish players for playing our game in a fun way, right? Because that sounds awful. Like I wouldn't want to have you thrown into jail whenever you hunt a tiger. That would suck. Even though that is a very funny idea, but
Can you break out of jail? That sounds kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That sounds
There's a whole new line of missions right there. We're 10 minutes into this, and this is exactly what I wanted to hear. Like, I love hearing the behind the scenes, the stuff that is a player you would never know without hearing, like, what happens behind the scenes with these conversations. Like, knowing that all that goes into it. It's not just like, let's throw tigers on there and shoot them. Let's see what happens. Like, you guys really took the time. You said you had consultants and everything from the region. Like, it's really cool to hear that.
Yeah, like another one for ASCII as well. And you'll be able to speak maybe a bit more to this, Kyle, definitely. But, like, in ASCII, when we had Canadian consultants, the animal there maybe had the most issues with was the beaver, because it's almost like a representation of Canada. It's like killing like a national animal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I thought was really funny. Because, I mean, there's quite a lot of them, but it's like it's a culturally important animal. So we again were considering that and going back and forth with that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. Thanks for outing me. Yeah.
I love it. So Foxy wants to know thoughts on the woodcock being added. Do either of you have anything specific with that? And then, yeah, I mean, they're such cool little birds. We have to get one at some point today. I intend to do that. If you guys haven't seen them yet, they're awesome. But yeah, because are they endangered in Scotland? That I don't know.
So as far as I know, woodcock are they're a reasonably common quarry species. Okay. But I don't know about their protection status. Like, I think they're not things that are like strange to be hunting, but I am actually not sure about the protection status. So I can just Google that right now if we can vamp for a bit. But I don't think so.
Gotcha. But yeah, they're cool little birds, and I guess this is a little bit of not really a spoiler, but it's the females that make diamonds, which at least for the American woodcock, because I talked to somebody who hunts them, that is normal. Like, it's the female birds that are bigger, so well done on that front as well.
Yes, I can confirm they can be hunted during hunting season, but they are protected, so they're still a game species.
Okay.
So yeah. So the story with the woodcock, actually, when we make the animal lists, we go through a bunch of different. We basically get everyone in a room, and they're like, okay, what's cool, what's iconic, what do we want in the reserve, and we whittle them down to what is possible. Like, maybe we have almost 30 animals, and you're whittling them down and down and down and down into what we can actually deliver in the time frame that we have. And then we'll have a gamekeeper who's a hunting specialist. So for Scotland, we had Mark, who is a gamekeeper and wildlife manager from the north side of Scotland. He has managed numerous private estates. He was fantastic. And we give him this big list, and they were like, what do people actually hunt here? Like, I remember from that initial conversation, he was the one who flagged the goats, because he was like, actually, there's a huge amount of feral goats here. And you know, like, if you want to deliver what a really authentic Scotland is, you should probably have the goats. And I did see people, like, when we announced it, being like, goats? That's weird. Like, why are they on there? But it was purely from conversations with someone out working in the field, which was why we included those. Then after that, we worked with our player council. For those who don't know, the player council, super important resource of some of our most dedicated and incredibly awesome, passionate players, who we go, if we showed you this, would you be surprised? Would you like it? What would you think? And I think it was from that conversation that the woodcock started to emerge, actually. Like, I remember at one point we were batting around wolves, we were batting around various other things as well, and I remember the player council was kind of like, actually, that doesn't feel right. So maybe we should change that a little bit. So there's almost like 4 or 5 gates that we kind of go through to make sure that the animal list is like whittled down to something we can make, but also something that people really want.
It's so nice being able to rely on them. Like, they're so engaged with everything. I learned so much just by having conversations with the player council about things that are so far outside of my view. What kind of animals or what kind of like flora is in an area in a wet season. Like, people are so passionate about everything there. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, you can't get better than people that are engaged and passionate about it doing that.
Yeah.
Am I correct in saying, was there just recently a post like looking for more player council?
Always looking for more. So I think we're going to disclose more about that. Maybe we'll let the comms team do that. But I think we're always looking for more people to bring into the fold.
Awesome.
As I say, it's always super useful. In Scotland in particular, this is kind of funny, actually. The level of... it's not just about hunting and animals and the various parts of the map. We actually lean upon people. I want a big shout out to the Don Snail Rancher, who has actually a bagpipe specialist, plays the pipes.
Oh, no way.
And the first round of the bagpipes that we had was well below standards. They had an incredibly extensive amount of feedback on the bagpipes, and the bagpipe asset went through about 5 or 6 different iterations. I still think in the end, Snow Rancher wasn't entirely happy with it. We were probably missing some vital pieces that you actually need to play in real life. But I think we've got one of the best bagpipes on the market, just because I can't imagine anyone else having that kind of bagpipe consultancy that we got through the player council. So it's not just hunting. There's a lot of other things that go into it.
Yeah,
so,
shout out to Snow Rancher
as well.
That was one of the most entertaining threads to follow from the outside. I remember reading all about that. I learned so much.
He's been around for a very long time too. I think back in like the classic days and everything. So that's very cool. He's I had no idea he was a bagpipe. Did you say expert specialist?
He definitely is compared to us. It's somewhat of a maestro on the bagpipes. So
That's
maybe
cool.
it's one of those things where maybe only another bagpipe player can really judge how expert a bagpiper is. But definitely impressed us. We used to, I think about 6 years ago in the office, we used to have a guy who used to play the bagpipes. And every lunchtime, like once a week, he would go to the bike shed to play his bagpipes. And there were pipes there that led up from the bike shed up to the toilets in the back of the studio. So when you went to the toilet, you would hear bagpipes coming through the pipes every Tuesday lunchtime while you're in the toilet. And that has made it through to the game. There is a reference
Oh, no way.
There
is something. You'll know when you see it. But my inspiration for one of the things was this poor lad who we used to hear his bagpipes while you were doing a number 2 at the lunchtime, for example. So,
That's wild.
That is
good
excellent.
fun.
So, I want to ask... yes, that was a woodcock. We will go chase that. I want to ask about the badgers and their behavior and, like, burrowing. It seems they are European rabbit-like, where they're out sometimes, and then, like, they're in the burrows and effectively can't be hunted till they come back out of the burrows. Was that, like, just a decision, I guess, to make them more difficult? Was that a decision because, yeah, they're a burrowing animal? Like... It's a thing that I've noticed
bit of
while hunting
both.
this map.
It's a bit of both. I mean, there's a lot of considerations. Like, for one, we want to try and represent animals, like, kind of truer to life when possible, right? So trying to mimic some of the behaviors they have, while also still making it, like, not overly challenging or difficult or frustrating for players to pick up on. So it's one of those things where if you never see them burrow, it's kind of a big piece of their kind of signature, you know, real-world behavior that we're missing out on. So
Right.
yeah, hopefully people find enjoyment for it and also can appreciate the unique behavior that species has. But yeah.
And the animation going into the burrow, from what I've seen, is really, really nice. I was quite impressed. Like, you can actually see the fur kind of like squeeze in as they go through, which, you know, of course, they're not going to dig a burrow too big that a predator or whatever can get in and come after them, so it's just big enough they can squeeze through there. I thought that was well done.
That looks really good. The team's so talented, and like I remember there was a lot of time spent trying to make sure that you didn't get into weird cases where, like, how far into the burrow should I be able to shoot this animal before I can retrieve it realistically, and all these kind of things. So yeah, a lot goes into those little moments.
Like a lot of the really unique animal behavior comes from passion. Like every month or so, or every couple of months, we have kind of a few days where people can kind of work on whatever they're really passionate about. And the beaver behavior on ASCII, where they're kind of fell trees, was kind of like a really unique thing that people just really wanted to do. I don't think it was something that we really imagined or scoped or had time. I remember someone just telling me, yeah, the beavers can eat through trees. And I was like, what? That's awesome. So I think it's kind of like, if anyone's kind of excited about the badgers, I think the minks and wild martins, people are really excited about those on the team. I think they get a little bit of extra care and people give them a bit of unique behaviors. And it's hopefully something we can continue doing because I think it gives it a lot of flavor. Like, I think the tree felling on ASCII was super unique. I like to even see more. They can do more stuff if we can, but honestly, after working on it, I think we've already tried to pack this with as much stuff as I think we possibly and healthily can, given the time frame. So, but maybe whenever someone feels passionate about stuff, we can try and get it in. It does that a lot, I think.
Yeah, our animals team are superstars. Like, they care so much about this game, and they're so good at what they do. It's it's kind of mad.
That's one of the greatest things when you see something that you've either seen like while hunting in real life, or even if it's like on a nature documentary or whatever, like, oh, I've seen a pine marten do this or whatever, and then like the way they run around, they're sort of like hopping run, which I may be incorrect about this, but just seeing other small animals run like that, I'm guessing it's because they're so small, they're trying to see over the grass that they're running through. Like, it's just very cool to see that reflected in game. Like, the mule kicks, actually, with the ski ridge. That was a perfect example for me. Like, that's what happens. Like, it's that aha moment.
I think the swimming as well, the swimming on some of the mustelids on Scotland is pretty amazing as well. They're so cute. It's this weird, I don't know, I don't think a lot of the people, the hunters that I see have the same kind of disconnect. But normally when I see how they move, I'm like, that's so cute. I don't really want to shoot that. Like, I think you get to kind of that problem. I don't think that's a problem for most of our players. I think that's a plus. But I think for me, personally, there's always that kind of disconnect if you spend so much time making these animals kind of like adorable.
Yeah.
And then you almost kind of forget why we're making them in the first place, I guess. But I do. There are players who just kind of chill, who just like to just vibe out and look at animals. And I think that we do make stuff for them, and then for the people who don't really, it's not really an issue for them as well. I think they enjoy how cute things are, and then they also enjoy putting them on the wall.
Yeah, it's a little of both.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? It's you get to do both, I think. And we do. I mean, maybe it's a bit of a segue, but we do have a bunch of new ways you can put stuff on walls too, which I guess we'll get into. People have questions about that.
Yeah.
Good segue. Yeah.
Speaking of things you can put on a wall, now that it's been officially revealed, wild boar, what are we thinking? Do we want to do that now? Do we want to look at the new furs? Do we want to wait a little bit?
Sounds good. I mean, the segue was already great. So
yeah,
I'm down for diving into these new furs. This is hot off the press. We've only just revealed this. If you're on our channels, just maybe like an hour ago. So a lot of people might not have seen it yet.
Yeah, I started my day with, can I talk about this? That hot off the press.
It's all out there now, so just gonna take that one. We'll run up there and get them, and then, yes, we have a little graphic with all the new wild boar, great one fur types, and I don't want to say all, but I'm guessing all, the tusk varieties, that's been confirmed. And I gotta say, like, I can't wait to see them in game. The redo for the wild boar is already really good, and, like, kind of, I guess, overdue in a sense, because they are an OG species from all the way back in 2017. They don't quite look how they used to. It's a whole lot nicer. Snout's better, like the fur, the legs, the facial structure. It doesn't show as good because he's laying there on his side. Let's stand him up. There we go. But, yeah, let's dive into that. Boom. So, I guess I will just list them all, and I figured it'd be better if we hide behind this so you guys can actually see the boars themselves. We have the... Is it Stripple? I think I'm saying that right. Hopefully. That is our top left one. Gotcha. We have the Brindle in the top right. You notice, too, the difference in the tusks. One on the left just has big kind of vertical tusks. The one on the right, the top right there, its upper tusks are like curving backwards. It's a little harder to see the tusks as you go down, but you have the fabled Scorch. That's C, the bottom left. Some scarring there. Almost, that looks like a razorback thing going on with the fur going like along his head, down to the neck, and along the back. D is the fabled Stitch. I'm going to say a, what is that called? The fallow deer? Why can't I think of it? It's one of the fallow deer fabled furs. I do know. Somebody will tell me in chat. Let me pop those back up. Okay. We have fabled Ash. Painted, yes. Thank you, Solar. Fabled Ash is in the middle there. I can't see the tusks on my screen as well, but if you noticed on the Stitch, huge forward-facing tusks. So the Ash is more like a white with some kind of gray in there, like sort of as an Ash would be. We have, you could probably notice the naming scheme for a lot of these. Fabled Smolder as F there. Looks like those kind of upright tusks again. It's sort of hiding back there. You can't see it as good, but some black, some kind of tans, golds in there. Fabled Cinder, going with that naming theme, is G. Got the curl back on the tusks. We're getting to my favorite one, by the way. Fabled Butterscotch is almost like the Dawnbreak Wolf, kind of a goldish color. Got that big forward-facing tusk again, and then look at the last one. Fabled Chalk Eye. Its tusks are enormous. It's got a big, almost like, I'm going to call it a hairstyle. Somebody can give me the correct name in chat. Going down the back. Really cool looking coloration as well. I think they're really, like, they're super well done. I love the Stripple. I love the Brindle, and then that Chalk is just, with those tusks in particular, that looks sick. So, yeah, in chat, if you guys want to let us know what you guys think of the new Great One Wild Boar, come to the game, and what map you're going to grind it on. And I'll throw that over to you guys, too. What do you got as favorites there?
Butterscotch, I love the hairstyles on these things.
It's
I love the hairs. I wish you had Truex on the hair for like a pompadour.
That'd be awesome.
Unique hairstyle. That'd be sick. But yeah, no, I have a bit of a history with these things because I remember when we kind of first decided. We had a lot of conversations about what we wanted the animal to be when we decided on the boar. And I was like, oh, I love my Scottish myths and legends. How about we go into this like legendary boar and we could make it Gaelic themed of this legendary spear boar. And then someone had to have a conversation with me being like, Ben, we have to put these on all of the maps. Isn't it really weird to have like a Scottish legend on Quattro or something? And I was like, you're right, okay. I guess I'll get them written to something else. But I think it turned out better than I could have possibly imagined. Like, I think these are a lot more in line. You know, we have a lot of these fantasy fairs, right? Some players love them, some players don't. I feel these are all a bit closer to reality. Although obviously, a little bit further away than we get. It is fabled, right? But that's a very long way of saying butterscotch. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. Honestly, it just looks so badass. And yeah, I don't know. It's nice to be able to do justice to a species that's been around for so long as well in the game. Really like great revamp. Made me excited.
Yeah, it's awesome to see them getting that love. And the being that they drink at night, there's going to be no mistaking that butterscotch when it shows up. It is going to almost glow there, nighttime or not. Like, it's got that goldish coloration. I really, really like it. There we go.
Nice.
So,
easy.
Thank you. Easy. There was only, I took one shot.
So your aim today was to get some woodcocks, and you've got about 5. Are you looking for a diamond?
They're cooperating. That'd be awesome to find a diamond. So
let's hope.
This is something with Great Ones that I want to like kind of dive into a little bit. There's another one. It's been like a topic, a thing that gets brought up around the community all the time. What if there were Great Ones, even if it's a specific fur, that you could only get on Scotland, or you could only get on Medved, or whatever. I believe it was when Moose came out, that was the thing a lot of people were like, oh man, if there was a special, of course the ski would fit now too, but if there was a special, like, snow fur moose you could only get in Medved, is that something you guys have ever, like, considered from that end? And then is it also trying not to, like, isolate players that don't own Medved?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, I would say. Like, I think trying not to isolate players is a big part of that. But at the same time, like, there's just something fun about having to hunt rare things in rare places, right? So it's kind of, yeah, we haven't opened that door just yet, but I can see why that's appealing to a lot of people. It's appealing to myself as well. But, yeah. I think we're just trying to be as inclusive as possible for a lot of these things. Make sure that if we do all this work and we make some really badass looking animals, we can put them everywhere that you could particularly find them. So,
like, I think that's one of the things, you know, that we've really discovered in these past few years, is that whenever you release a piece of content, like one of the big kind of, you know, like Scotland, for example, you want to pair it with something that everyone can play, that you know, not just people that buy Scotland. So if you're on Discord, if you're in the community, people are getting hyped playing Scotland. You've got a bunch of people who actually haven't bought Scotland yet, but are still having a good time grinding the Great Ones. Like, I do think we always want opportunities to have everyone having a fun period together, even if you haven't bought the newest reserve, right? I spend a lot of time thinking about, because obviously Great Ones are fantastic for, like, I think a very certain subset of players. But I think the reality of it, and I think we're very aware of this, is that the vast majority of players will never see a Great One. They're incredibly exclusive. So I do think a lot about how we could create something that isn't a Great One, but is still, you know, like a big prize that a casual player could potentially work towards, right? And it's something that I don't think we've necessarily come up with a definitive solution for yet, but I would like to explore other avenues for us to basically give players who aren't like super hardcore a chance to attainably get a Great One, you know, or a Great One-esque. Because the problem is, if we make Great Ones easier, then that devalues the Great Ones that everyone else has got. So I don't think that's really anything that we can do. But I think we would want to give you something you can aim for as a casual player.
yeah, well said.
Yeah, I love to hear that, because it is something you see a lot. Like, I don't have time to grind for whatever 10, 20 hours a week, which, for what it's worth, I do about 8 hours a week. You can do it. Anyway, those that don't want to grind, I think that would be awesome. Like, finding that balance like you talked about, so that you don't then devalue the already existing Great Ones, but make it something that casual players can work towards. Like, I think that would... Hello there. I think that would be really well received.
So yeah, watch this space, I guess. Obviously, we'd love to hear people's suggestions if you have any ideas of, you know, what we could be doing. But I do think we've got a few promising leads in house. So let's see what happens.
I like what Lady Nibiru said. Diamond snow leopards are rare. Like, that is one of those things too that can be achieved through casual play. It's not grinding and all that, but it is a really challenging diamond to get. I mean, like, I put in a lot of hours and I've found 2 thus far. Like, they're legitimately a massive challenge, which, if I can, like, throw anything out there, more of those things in the future, like, low population, hard to hunt. I love snow leopards. They're my favorite animal in the game.
It was such an achievement as well, like, and I think that's something that we do think about actively, is just, like, yeah, some of these things are tough. They take some time, and that should be kind of recognized.
For sure.
Not all diamonds are created equal.
Yeah, that. Yeah. Well said. There are woodcocks everywhere up here. I'm going to show on the map for anybody that wants to hunt here. It's like down in this region. By the way, I'm moving towards one of the POIs that I wanted to kind of highlight as we go along, and I guess maybe we can set it up as I'm heading down there. I'm heading for the plantation, and I know that was one of the ones, Ben, that you wanted to kind of like specifically touch on because it actually affects your hunt in a sense.
Yes. I think that was something that when we were talking about where we wanted to go in this, like, obviously castles are great. I think they really get you off on the right foot, and especially, you can interact with it as an outpost and things like that. But I think a few of the unique places will really change the way you hunt and the things you're hunting. Very nice. So, if you're having a look at what's happening in Scotland at the minute, especially towards the Cairngorms and like a bunch of the other kind of national parks, other bigger parks, there started to be a really concerted effort to revitalise forest land and rainforest. And so I think when people think about Scotland, they may not really think like a temperate rainforest biome. But that is a thing that is existing, and is a thing that they've managed to return. We've managed to return to. In real life, that's done via the help of beavers, which are being reintroduced. I think the decision was made not to include the beavers because that was kind of ASCII's thing, and I think we didn't want to have back-to-back beavers, even though I think that would have been kind of cool. But we'll see. It doesn't feel that Scottish, even if they are coming back, and so I think this kind of like temperate rainforest biome will mean you get a lot of variation, even if you're hunting on the same map. You've got kind of the merlins and all the big purple heathermeres you'll have probably seen in a lot of the promotional artwork. But we've also got this kind of temperate rainforest area that I think will give you some unique hunts, I think, as well. So I think we always try to have as much variation within the map as we can, so that like even if you play a map over and over and over again, you get quite a few different hunts. But we don't want it to seem like it's like a weird theme park, like it's not really a place. So I think there's always that balance you have to find, really.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of the specifics with that. As I said, I've kind of avoided some of these areas, and we're heading down towards the plantation part now, so we'll see what that looks like. I do want to say, Pheasant Grind, we are reading chats. I'm doing my best anyway to work in chat questions and everything that I want to get to here. We sort of have an outline for everything that we want to make sure we touch on, because there's more. So we have 5 new species, right? European badger, American mink, Eurasian woodcock, Eurasian pine marten, and red grouse. And we have the remodels, the red deer, the roe deer, and the wild boar. There's some new fur types, too, which we'll get into when we go into the patch notes. But there's so much more to this release than just those 8 species, the new ones in the remodels. And we want to make sure that we really highlight all that stuff today, because there's it's a, to use the word with expansive worlds, and it's an expansive map that has so much going on.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it before, right? But it's kind of like giving you new animals and kind of unique. And oh wow, that's beautiful. Another one, maybe. Pressure. Nice. Okay. Oh. Oh.
I thought the first shot was worse. I'm going to be intrigued with that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, sorry, I was just getting into it. I lost my train of thought. But we want to give you these new animals and new kind of versions, because I think that's what people are really here for. I think that's one of the really exciting things. But I also don't think that we could deliver Scotland in any kind of authentic way without focusing on the grouse and pheasants, right? And or stag, or deer. Like I think you have this kind of marriage of like what you hunt in Scotland in like from a more realistic sense, but also kind of a fantastical sense too. Look at the size of that. Not bad.
I love the fur. Like they just feel like a creature that lives like in burrows and stuff. Like it's not perfect, beautiful, groomed fur. It's a little like. It's not matted, I don't know what the right word is, but it's sort of tufted, I guess. I like them. Like, I think they really capture badgers well.
I've really been enjoying watching a bunch of the streams in early access and seeing the melanistic badgers and some of the creamy badgers and different fur variations on the badger. It looks... I really, really like the badgers. Look at that fur.
Yeah.
He's a fluffy one.
Yeah, it's a cute guy.
You almost feel bad, but they're too much fun.
Well, when we were talking to our the gamekeeper up in Scotland, we actually were like, "Is it weird that we have the players hunting badgers? Like, is that a strange thing?" And he was like, "I wish more things would hunt badgers, because at the minute the only predator they have is a 4x4, Like they're actually a bit of a problem at times. So he was very much like, it's all good.
Are you saying I should get my 4-wheeler?
No, no comment. See, I've had media training. I'm not going to say anything. No comment.
Nicely done. The little paw, I know. Piebald Badger is a dream rare. I did see, I don't want to spoil anybody's content, but I know somebody got one. I'm guessing since you guys have seen it, probably that video's already been posted. They're beautiful. Like, so good.
Yeah, the variations are so lovely. And again, I guess I haven't been on too many of these, so maybe it is spoilers to say exactly which variation. So maybe I won't go too into it, but some of them are incredible. I love seeing all the kind of like variations and stuff. It'd be such a nice trophy to put in your lodge.
Yeah, they've got a couple of multi-mounts, so you can include them in a couple of those. You can put them on the new platforms, which we will do by the end of this. They're cool. I've had a hard time deciding what my favorite species on the map is. I think it is the badger, but I love chasing those dang minks and pine martens. They're so fast. They're just gone in a blink if you haven't shot them. Like, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways you can try and create interesting hunting challenges, and I think I think Ben mentioned earlier, kind of felt like those small elusive species are a bit underserved. So trying to bring some of those into a map felt like a good opportunity here, Scotland.
Yeah, I think it was a great idea. It offers a hunt that it's not like you're never going to find them. They're pretty all over the map. But actually succeeding in getting them, that takes some effort. Okay, so we've made it
here we go.
To
nice.
The plantation one. I don't want to spoil too much with all this. We got a little music. I turned the music on a while ago, and I haven't crossed through a new region yet. So is this part of what you mentioned before, where it was Snail Rancher's contribution to the music and such? I couldn't tell if there were bagpipes in there.
Snail Rancher themselves didn't contribute music themselves. They just contributed to the modelling of the bagpipes.
Okay.
Not just as well. They also contributed to loads of other stuff. They're fantastic. I don't need to plug Snail Rancher more. But the music itself, we have a bunch of a Gaelic singer, and our kind of classic composers as well. Worked with a bunch of session musicians based over in Scotland as well to give us the bagpipes, to give us the fiddle, and the drums and the local instrumentation, as well as they. For the last few reserves that I've had lyrics in the song, they kind of had a chat to me about basically write some lyrics and then translate it into Gaelic, and then kind of reinterpreted and used into song. So any vocals that you hear will have kind of hit on a bunch of the story and missions as well, if anyone is interested and can speak it. So that's kind of cool. Hopefully not spoilers if you speak Gaelic. That could be a problem, but we'll see.
That's super cool.
So I love working with the music. Actually, I think it's I don't know. I think the music in our game is really underrated. I think there's a few fantastic old things, and I love that we use a load of local instrumentation as well. It's super cool.
Yeah, from a content creation perspective, I typically have it off, and I'll hear from members of the community like, "Oh, have you heard the new music?" I'm like, I actually don't even think about it that much. I forget that it's a part of the game. So having it on today is going to be fun, where it'll play as we move around and stuff. But there's, some of the... This is latent for me because it's nostalgia, but some of the, the older maps... Speaking of... What timing?
Yeah, seriously. Wow.
But yeah, it is really cool, and I think you nailed it. Underrated, because, as I said, it's something that I generally just don't even notice, but it's nice to have. Grave says this map would be a great air rifle map. Just need an air rifle for class 1 animals. A 177 or something could be very cool, yeah, but I mean, you can use the 45 for your roe deer. You could use it for the fallow deer if you wanted, because it's class 2 to 4. You could use it for the badgers. And you'd have to go a little louder for the class 1s for now, but yeah, it's this has like Reventuli Coast, Salsweesen Park vibes written all over it. It's been non-stop here today. Oh, Basher's going. There's just so much running around. Like, it's constant opportunities. So something with a good capacity is not a bad idea.
I've heard from a lot of people that it's a real run gunner. I think you've been watching your content as well. You were saying how much you've been enjoying just kind of walking around and shooting whatever you find. And I think that's really, it's kind of fresh. Like, I think you want to create these different playstyles between the maps, right? I always think it's so difficult because when I play a game, I always hate it when the game makes me play a certain way. But it's just, you can probably play this any way you like, but if you're the kind of player who normally likes to stake out, I would recommend just kind of having a stroll around and seeing what you can find and just mixing and matching, because there's a lot of nice stuff out there. Even if I do think the animals are a bit more zone-based. Like, we've talked a bit about how this could be a good board grinding map if you're so inclined, because they're kind of more locked into a certain zone. But right. I think that remains to be seen just because of their brush line, really.
Yeah, what I know for sure is that the community will figure it out very quickly, like what the best map is, what the best strategy is. By the time I get to grinding, everyone's like, no, do this. Okay. Just listen to the people that know what they're doing.
It gets figured out fast.
Are we allowed to ask questions? Yeah, absolutely. I can't promise I'll get to them all, but I will do my best. So we're headed up to, I'm going to try, the Muir. Am I close?
Absolutely close. So, I mean, obviously, in English, that would just be the moor, which is the Heather Moorland, a kind of like a Scottish piece of, protected kind of like iconic land on the Heather. You see the big purple heather is super striking. But that also has a bit of relevance because we talked about our gamekeeper before. They have to really watch out around the summer kind of year because there's a lot of issues of forest fires, especially in kind of the sun, but also people coming up and in Scotland, you have a right to roam to an extent. So, you can just kind of go hiking on here, even if, sometimes it's obviously private land. But that means that people can start forest fires on the moorland as well. It's a real problem. So they do controlled burns. That's part of your life as a gamekeeper, to make sure you're burning parts of the moorland. Or even like edible chalk to encourage the wild goats to eat it. Like, that's a big thing, is they basically coat it in different substances to encourage the goats to eat the heather, to stop it from setting ablaze.
How interesting!
So it's all useful stuff that we can kind of use in missions, or like just add a little bit of authenticity to the location. Oh, poor thing.
He asked for it. He looked at me funny. You didn't see that?
It was very difficult from the sniper rifle scope, but.
There's a glare. It's okay. This really is like probably my favorite part of the entire map. Like, this area, it's got the pine martens, it's got the badgers. We just heard a roe deer call down there. It's kind of right in the center too when you start, I think, here. So it's not very hard to get to, but you can spend your entire day just running around up here chasing the different things, and then you turn around and there's more of them.
Is that a play on words? There's more of them. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Oh, I wish I was smart enough to do that.
We all get one. You had yours earlier. But yeah, exactly. I think it's really nice to have these kind of more kind of flatter, more environmental stuff, so that it kind of changes up the hunt in a reasonable way. I think that I do really look forward to watching videos and streams of people, picking off the pine martens as you just have into this really, really picturesque and really colourful area.
I don't know if this is something. Does it rain more here? Because I feel like in like the Scottish Highlands and stuff, that's just a thing. Fog and rain and all that. Is that incorporated into this?
So as far as I know, it's not super foggy as it would be in real life. Even though I think it should be a very fog-based. But we do have storms. Maybe not to the same in the same kind of way as we did in Nepal. But we do. There is obviously a good bit of rain and storms in this map. Yeah. It wouldn't be Scotland without rain, truthfully.
I love it.
So you got to have a bit of it.
Yeah, that's great. Like, every time I come through here, I'm like, man, it's raining again. Like, and I know it. Whoop, there's some lightning. I think it should, but I was really curious if that was actually a thing or if I was just wishing that into existence. That's very cool that that's actually, like, the weather is a part of the whole development as well.
Very much so, yeah. Trying to represent places as much as possible.
Yeah, it makes it feel, not that I've been to Scotland, but the videos of like red stag hunting up in the Highlands especially, like it just has that same kind of feel of like one of those hunts that I believe it's Steve Ranella says there's fun in the moment and fun after the fact. It's probably miserable up there in the rain, cold, and then after the fact, like, that was awesome.
Okay, I think we wanted to, when we're kind of making the map, I think we didn't really want to focus too much on just Highlands or Lowlands or Central Belt. You kind of want to get, a bit of all of Scotland, I guess. So you do have these kind of more kind of intense, kind of peaky Highland areas as well. You'll be finding a lot of the feral goats and the stags up here. And then, you'll have more of your driven goat shooting in the Lowlands as well. A lot of the, obviously, Forestland, and, you'll be able to get a lot of different spikes. Like, there's a load of, 5 or so different biomes that we can kind of choose from and go to these various different places to kind of capture different parts of Scotland. Which I'm kind of glad we did. Like, I think it would have been easy enough to just be like, okay, entire UK map, and you get like a little bit of England as well to kind of bring in some more animals, right? But I feel really glad we did Scotland. Just kind of, the different kind of sampling areas of Scotland, that you still get a lot of variety in there. Even if
it's a real struggle.
Hey,
like,
I think in real life you wouldn't have this kind of stuff right next to each other, right? But yeah, sorry, go on, man. Talk to you.
No, it's totally fine. Yeah, it's like I feel for the world design guys sometimes when they're having to pick. It's you lose a lot from some regions, and you just want to show everything you can, but you don't want it to be a theme park. And yeah, picking a region means you don't get the animals from that region. Sometimes it's it's a tricky problem to have. So much is cool.
I think you want to make it feel like Scotland, but you don't want it to be Scotland, because I think, for a start, anyone who's been up in this kind of area, there's nowhere near as much foliage, right? Like it's a lot prettier. like I think it's a lot more stark in this kind of area in real life, but you add a lot more foliage because it's a lot more interesting. But you don't want to go crazy with it, else it doesn't feel like Scotland anymore. So finding that balance, I think, is really difficult.
Playing on the fantasy without breaking into unrealistic too much, it's difficult.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that really fascinates me with creating the maps and how the different biomes fit together, like almost the transition from Highlands into Lowlands or whatever, and how that's done, and how it feels. It doesn't feel as if you've just flipped a switch and I'm playing in another spot now. It just seamlessly transitions from one biome to the next. You don't feel like you've just switched maps or fast traveled or whatever. It's a slow transition, and I think it has to be incredibly challenging, right? Is it? What's the total map size? About 64 square kilometers?
Well, that means I got to do math in my head. So I think that's right.
I think it's 8 by 8, more or less.
Yeah.
So to be able to fit all that, and like you were saying, you want to show all of the Highlands and all of the forests and everything, and then being able to fit it all into that and seamlessly transition. There's a lot that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about our kind of cadence, we're normally sticking to about 2 maps a year, and the way that works is that isn't one team working 6 months and one team working 6 months. We'll have 2 teams, and each one takes about a full year to make the map, give or take. So it takes a lot of time. You will have people pretty much for the full year, 3 or 4 just working intensely to make the landscape, make the foliage, make the structures. Even more, actually. I think 3 or 4 has been a bit of a low ball, because we allocate people to basically help out in whatever needs made. So it is a labour of love for a full year. And I do think it's funny how it affects you. I think that the world designers, I mean, I felt this way when I've been working on games, but you spend so much time on holiday, but you're at work. You're in in a random place like Scotland, for example, and then they're just sitting nowhere near Scotland working on it, and you kind of just want to go on holiday to Scotland afterwards. You can finally go to the place you've been kind of living in for a full year. It's very strange. I get it with characters. I remember during COVID when I was working on characters, and I felt like I talked to the characters I was writing for more than I talked to my family, to the point where you get very strangely attached to them. On this reserve, we have our kind of 2 characters. We've got Roderick, who is very much based out of kind of a bit of a comedy-led thing that I got from when I was living in Scotland. I lived in Scotland for 6 years. And I'm from the border myself, so I'm very close. And I kind of based it on my own experiences, and in a way that was kind of comical. And then when we were getting to the very end of the recording, I was up late at night, the day before the recording sessions, and at 4 a.m. I woke up and I was like, I feel bad. Like I want better for this person. I don't want him to just be a fool. I want him to kind of grow. So I actually rewrote the script and sent it to the recording studio, much to their annoyance, because I wanted him to have a happier ending. Which is something I'm not supposed to do.
I did not know that.
Yeah. You feel very attached. Awesome. Like, I always find it hard to write villains in these scenarios because I grow to love them and I want them to be better. And so you do grow and change and feel for the characters that you make, because you spend about 8 hours a day molding them, looking at the things they say, talking to them, cheering people. It's a crazy thing. Like, I think when you're making games, you look at these pieces of dialogue and you read them until you don't know if they're good anymore. You think, actually, most of the time, I think it's quite awful. And then you give it to an actor, and actors are charismatic and they're amazing, and it's their job to make your lines sound good. And you give them the dialogue, and it's like, wow, this sounds amazing. You're actually really good. Maybe I'm really good, but, because I think I'm awful, right? And then you hear the actor do it, and you're like, man, I'm a genius. This is amazing. And then you spend another 6 months getting the dialogue and hearing it every day, and you're like, oh, I'm talentless, I'm awful, this is horrendous. You kind of have that cycle of just, living with the things every day and how it changes. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
This was legitimately my biggest goal, was like getting some of those sorts of stories and stuff, the behind the scenes stuff. And this was already kind of one of them. But do you guys have, was there a particular challenge with Scotland, or like a funny story from the development process that would probably otherwise go unknown? There could be, with development, there could be such little things that affect everything. And if you don't spot them, you would just never know. So I'm curious, from that perspective as well.
The thing that's really funny is you'll notice that a lot of the place names and a lot of the map descriptions are in Gaelic. And we had a specific Gaelic consultant based on kind of one of the Western Islands up in Scotland there. And they are also, their full-time job isn't necessarily a Gaelic consultant, even if they are involved with that. Their full-time job is a shepherd and crofter looking after lambs. And so we would get a lot of the reeds of Gaelic just out on the hills in the wind, in the middle of basically looking after the sheep. And I needed a bunch of this stuff around lambing season. And unfortunately, the birth of a bumper crop of lambs meant that I was panicking, because I was like, oh, there's absolutely no contact from the consultant. What am I going to do? I don't know Gaelic. I can't do anything. Because they were out in the middle of the fields, basically, making sure their sheep were okay. It was kind of wild when you get the people in there, out in there, and that basically has that knock-on effect. I was actually kind of panicking because they weren't responding, and it was because, we come second. Their priority is making sure their sheep are okay, which I thought was pretty amazing.
It's a pretty wild deadline.
Yeah. I mean, we produce games, they produce sheep. We're both artists, I guess.
Yeah.
All this time, you guys thought it was just writing code and things. No, there were sheep involved. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think these last few reserves, we've really been getting a lot out of hiring these specialist consultants, and obviously finding good actors to do the roles. I think this one in particular, I was going to talk about it, but this is the first one where we've had a recording studio, and every member of the recording team and the actors are all from the location. So we recorded out of Glasgow with two Scottish sound technicians and a vocal director, and with a couple of Scottish actors, because when we do stuff like Nepal, it's so much more difficult for us to find the Nepalese studio and kind of get Nepalese actors that all speak fantastic English. That's a real challenge. I remember we were working out of London for Nepal, and we were having some real issues finding an actor. And in the end, we found an actual Sherpa who actually had some real experience in the field, and they could breathe that in. But I remember there was a while it looked like we weren't going to be able to find a good actor. And the vocal director was ringing Nepalese restaurants being like, hey, can your cousin act? We really need someone. because we have these insane requirements. Hey, has to speak perfect English, also has to be from Nepal, and know Nepalese culture and be able to push back on us and tell us when we're doing stuff properly. Because we have to like, I'll write stuff some ways. And then the actor has to go like, actually, we wouldn't speak like that. We use this slang. We wouldn't say that. This kind of thing. We need that kind of relationship for them to push back. And you don't get that if you don't find the right people. So it is a real challenge. And I don't think many other games have that same kind of issue. Like they'll just maybe hire out of Los Angeles and they'll find someone who's like a good fit. No, we need people. We need people in that location who have specific knowledge to help us, which I think really makes stuff a challenge. But I hope it comes through in the final game.
That's one thing to set the game in a location. It's one thing to go to a different location every every year, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know if we talked about it much, but on ASCII as well, we had some incredible consultants there as well. We had people from the Métis and the First Nations who were kind of advising on us, and they were talking a bit about how they traditionally had like. They actually took, car rides to the locations we were basing it on, talked to people on the ground, got us photos. I hope as the game continues to thrive and do better, we can even manage to get people from our dev team to go over and experience the location. But at the minute, we depend on people on the ground there to come give us a hand.
Yeah, that's
we got a lot of footage of Scotland as well from the crofters and shepherds that that helped us out. And also from the professional actors, Miles and Blanche, who are going to be playing the characters you'll hear in the game too. So,
shout outs. So it's not just a simple matter of Google Scotland, right? You guys are literally having people go there, and you're having footage and stuff that you're, basing the map design and everything off of.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think our own personal nightmare is that we release the game and we think it's all good, and then one player from Scotland plays it and they're like, this is awful. like I think it's, because at the end of the day, obviously we have a bunch of people on the dev team from Scotland. That's a really easy thing. But let's say, in the case of Nepal, for example, we don't have the same kind of level of, people that we can lean on in the dev team to say, this looks or doesn't feel like Scotland, right? In Scotland in particular, we actually got one of our Scottish consultants and actually a few members of the player council from the Scottish Highlands. And they told us, actually, we're really missing this plant. And so the foliage changed really late in development because it was missing just that one thing that really made it feel separate from the actual location. So I think, props to the world team again, and they basically, had to kind of really, really high priority squeeze out some new grass for us and new plants because it was that one little thing that was separating it, feeling like Scotland. I think it's really tough. So, again, it's kind of my personal hell. We'll be making this location, and then we get this one player on Reddit that I see because it's 3 a.m. and I keep looking, and I shouldn't be. And someone's like, "This doesn't look anything like Scotland. I hate it." And then I would think about it every single time. I feel sad for the rest of my life. That'd be terrible. So, yeah.
Well, the fact that you care that much shows in the final product, and I'll only speak with Scotland for the case of today's stream, but it definitely the vibes, everything from the castles to even in the trailer, they kept mentioning legends. It was really an important part of it. It really, really does come through.
I hope so. It's one of those things where, obviously we have a lot of different people that play our game. I hope that no matter how you play it, a little bit rubs off on you. Even if you're not engaging with it super huge. But also, this was something that I was personally really interested in. I love all the folklore elements of it, and hunting is something that has existed for thousands and thousands of years. It has shaped people in the land, and the land influences how people hunt and how people think. It is a defining way that people interact throughout human history, right? And so pretty much all of the legends of anywhere we go to have something to do with hunting. I think it's really interesting to look into this kind of shared space and family tree and how you respect it or how you don't, how you think about conserving it, how you don't, and the kind of legends that come out of the back of that are always something that's going to be super interesting to me. And I think I can see from a few people in the Discord as well, it's interesting to them too. I know we had a few people who were kind of making threads of all of their top 10 Scottish myths, and I was looking to them being like, yeah, we got that one. Oh, we missed that one out. Oh no. That kind of thing. So, because you can't fit everything in. But
of course, yeah.
If I was to show you my whiteboard, you would see all of them written down there. that we didn't quite get it.
I really love that about the narrative as well, like here particularly, because like not being from Scotland, all I know about Scotland is like, Loch Ness and some of these myths and stuff like that. And then you get to this place and the narrative kind of centers you in that kind of, search. I get to find out if it's true or not. And I think that's, that worked out super well for our game. Because it does like align super well with hunting and just looking for rare shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to find this balance between like creating stuff that's a bit niche and therefore kind of like gets a real flavor of like the place. Like you want to kind of, so like people who are from there are like, oh, this is kind of fresh, I recognize that. But also if you're not from there, it would be kind of a strange thing if we didn't like mention a Loch Ness equivalent or something like that. I'm not saying that's in there, but like, if you don't play your hits, if you go to see a band, you want to hear them play their hits, right? And I feel that we would be missing something if you went to Scotland and we didn't have a mention of possibly one of the most famous huntable creatures that people have been trying to hunt for many, many years now, the Loch Ness Monster. Who knows? Might be in there. I can't tell. But have a look and have a look tomorrow and see if you can find anything to do with it, and let us know on Discord, I guess.
I'm going over here to this giant body of water. I'm going hunting Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
Whoa. Can I go in there? Okay, it's like... Well done not letting me go down there.
So we talked a little bit about the person playing the bagpipes in the bike shed.
Yes.
This is something similar, which I actually kind of combined it with the Phantom Piper, which is a myth and monster, a kind of a legend from a part of Scotland, which is basically a little boy was kind of put beneath the tunnels around the castle to try and chart the underground because while playing the bagpipes, and the bagpipes call kind of fades into the night, and the boy goes missing and can never be found again. But when the moon is right and the night is still, you can hear this kind of wobbling sound cut the cloud above the moor from beneath the Piper's Pit. And so we kind of have worked it into a bit of the story. We've got a few of these locations and the ghosts and phantoms and myths that are there.
I want to note, this was
Would be
not
cool
on
if
our
we could jump
rundown.
there.
Like, I accidentally ended up here, and I'm so glad. Like, that was so cool to hear. So, and you described it exactly as it was written in there. Like, just...
Yeah, there's a reason for that. I guess I wrote it, but like...
Fair enough. But yeah, it's just like you stumble across those little things, and getting to hear it from, like, you describe it as opposed to just reading it, there's more to it. So I'm glad that worked out. That kind of perfectly segued to into something else I wanted to ask you, and like, you don't need to spoil anything, and I'll take it two different directions. So is there something you think is going to surprise the player base, or was there something you were surprised by, like, in your research, or like as things were going down with developing? Like, you mentioned so many of the myths being, or not myths, legends and stuff being hunting related, and I could just imagine there being all sorts of directions that could go in.
I think there'll be something surprising. I think there's a few deep cuts of kind of creatures that maybe you won't even know about, or kind of linked to Scotland.
Okay.
One of the characters that we've got here, Roderick, I was thinking about how I always find it really weird in Call of the Wild. You have these characters who speak to you all the time, but you never speak back. It's kind of rude, right? Like,
right.
they're always chatting to you, but you never say anything. So I was always like, what's that like? Oh, it's kind of like a podcast. How about if one of the characters was a podcaster? And the thing he runs is like a Myths and Monsters podcast channel. And so when you go about in the main missions, you will hear some kind of very nicely spoken and kind of very poetic descriptions of these, a lot of the time, real life myths and monsters. And I think there'll be a few deep cuts there, if you're familiar with Gaelic mythology and legends. And I hope that if it's something you like and you're interested in, it'll inspire a bit of curiosity in you, and you'll give them a Google and you can have a look, because there is so much better storytellers than me who have done stories about these creatures, right? And it is all kind of linked. So I do hope that if you do like a bit of what Roderick is chatting about, you'll give it a Google and you'll get the chance to explore that a little bit, because, well, I've been researching, that's what I've done, and it's been awesome. So, would recommend. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what people think, honestly. It's a bit fresh. I know we do we do kind of go into myths and monsters a lot in the Hunter, because I think that, like, I don't know, there's just obviously the hunt for Bigfoot is something that has been touched on many times as we've been going through, but I think it speaks to something. You know, you don't really ever find Bigfoot. You discover things about yourself. Like the hunt tells you about who you are, and it's like a communal thing rather than actually finding a Bigfoot. You know, I think ultimately that's what being in the outdoors is like. That's what hunting is like. It's a communal activity that teaches you things about the people around you and the things yourself, even if you don't actually manage to shoot anything. And I think that's a very attractive proposition. Every time we make a reserve, people want to kind of dive in and have a look at them. So I don't think it's the last we'll hear of it, but maybe if everyone really hates the reserve, then it will be. So who knows?
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Are you telling me there's a Sasquatch in ASCII?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you haven't played ASCII Ridge. Maybe I don't want to spoil it for you. It's only our last one, but the consultants we had from the Métis and the First Nations are actual Bigfoot hunters. That's their hobby. And
No way.
When we,
You're kidding me?
Yeah. When we, I think initially they were a bit scared to share that information with us because I think they thought we would make fun of them. But the more we talk to them, the more we kind of realize they don't really care about finding Bigfoot. They care about the community coming together and kind of like, you know, reinterpreting the land as told through our ancestors who've been looking for Bigfoot for, you know, thousands of years. There's a really good documentary actually on Bigfoot that I watched that maybe I could link as well in Discord if I find the time, which actually talks about the difference in perspective between the First Nations peoples and their search for Bigfoot and what kind of the search for Bigfoot has become in media, right? And it's this really interesting kind of like, it's more of a way of communing with nature, hunting, and kind of being in the outdoors together than it is necessarily about a conspiracy about a Bigfoot. You know, there's never any question whether Bigfoot is there because you're the one hunting. Like, I think that's it's an interesting thing. I think it's the kind of interesting things you can think about when you're hunting because, you know, it is so much more than just sport. Like, I think it is something that has been vitally important to humans for such a long period of time.
I just love to hear that perspective as someone who does hunt, like, a lot. I love that it's not like, this is a game where you shoot stuff and all that, but the developers aren't really, you know, they don't see that side of it. Like, I'm just floored, honestly, because that's the first I've ever heard, like, it described, it so eloquently, by the way, like, the whole thing about learning about yourself while you're out there. I find myself, so often when I harvest an animal in particular, like, really reflecting and thinking back, and, yeah, I thought that was very cool, like, hearing that perspective from you as well.
I mean, not to plug our competitors' products, but if you just want to go shoot stuff, there are games where you can just go shoot stuff. Like I think it's like you can shoot demons and aliens and all kinds of things in other games. Although if you're going to do that, please play our game too. But like I think if you're coming to Call of the Wild, you're looking for it's an outdoor simulator as well as just a pure hunting simulator, right? And I think we want to kind of model all of that. You know, wherever we talk to consultants who are involved in gamekeeping, a vital thing they always talk about is that you help out the person managing the land. You help construct stuff, you help fix stuff, you even try and leave the place better than the way you found it. Because it's just a vital part of being out in the wild and looking after each other and helping people out. Like, I think you are a part of this ecosystem, and you need to make sure you give back as well as, you know, potentially taking.
I love it. That's cool.
Yeah, like, really well said, man.
It doesn't make me, like, nothing has made me more excited and just, like, generally happy with the state of the game than to hear that sort of perspective coming from it as well.
I think it's something we really struggle with because, like, I read a lot of feedback about missions from players. I talk to the player council all the time about stuff they want to see. And I think the issue as well is you can be like, okay, we want to set this really good example, so we focus really hard on the conservation stuff in the missions. And then that means you get some of these early missions where you're just going and picking up rubbish to stop bears getting in the bins. Like, even if that's a realistic thing that you would do in real life, I don't think people always want to sit down after their day at work and go pick up plastic bottles. Like, I think there's something there. And so I think I've been really exploring what the players are feeling and what they want and how I can make the missions better. I hope in the future there'll be some kind of new ways we do missions that we're working on to kind of get more people involved with missions because when they just want to hunt. But I think especially in the side missions in this map, I've really focused. Me and the mission designers, it's not a group. It's a group effort. It's not just me. But I think we've tried to focus on giving you really challenging and interesting ways to harvest animals. So you'll be given like a very specific objective, and then some ways to do that as like a challenge. Maybe rather than just purely go to this location, go this, do that. We want to kind of use that as a kind of a vector to really show your prowess in hunting as well. And that's something that I really want to grapple with and push and try and experiment with in future reserves as well, of like just opening up and giving you a bunch of interesting hunts as well as like this kind of more walking simulator-esque tasks. So I hope people like them. We'll see what people say. They have a good feedback from the Play Council thus far.
I think our mission lovers are going to love to hear what you just said, because, like, I definitely have felt that over the last couple of years as well. Like, I kind of just go here and press E and that's the mission, and it doesn't sound like Scotland's going to be that.
I think the platonic ideal of these missions is that you would go somewhere, and then you would find animal tracks, and then you would get maybe kind of swept off, and you would find something, and you would go, the world would kind of push back on you, and it would basically turn it into this kind of active thing. Right. But I don't think that's necessarily the way players play our game in a modern way anymore. Like, I think if they want to go hunt, they go hunt themselves, and then when they do the missions, they kind of batch them out. Or like, I think there was always this kind of praxis when I joined the team of that you didn't want players to hunt in missions because they hunted a freeform way best. So having missions that involve hunting is kind of potentially not great because you're telling them how to hunt and they already know how to do that. I think now from reading player feedback all the time, I actually think there's been a bit of a flip on that. I think players do want this more kind of integrated hunting experience. So I guess we'll have to see how we can deliver that going forward. I'm really interested to see what happens, and I hope people see maybe a slightly different approach to missions in this one, and it's only going to get more and more different. Like, we're being quite experimental behind this. So I think watch this space. If you're not someone who likes missions traditionally, I hope within these next few reserves you give us a chance. We can change things up a little bit.
I'm all for that. So is this kind of entering the temperate rainforest area? I think that would be kind of what we're getting into.
Yeah, what is the name of the area you're going to? Sorry, is it the Future Heritage Forest or is it the?
Let me
just
not
give
pronounce
the POI,
whatever that says.
Just go for the POI rather than the Gaelic.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. This looks like this kind of you're getting into kind of the heavy woodland and rainforest area that I think people don't really normally associate with Scotland.
Yeah, that was definitely something that I didn't expect to, or even know could be a thing, so I'm gonna try specifically to spend some time hunting around here because I want to see what it's like. This is the one that I've definitely not been in, like, at all. I got an interesting question from Panda. I enjoy the hunting in the ambience, or ambiance, but I noticed my ADHD requires me to have some background noise. Ever think of adding a function for a bit of quiet music or radio for in the field?
I have not considered that, actually. It's always interesting to hear about things like that play into players' like accessibility and like what makes it kind of a easier, smoother experience for people. There's actually like that kind of makes sense in some ways. Where very much you're walking around with your hunter mate all the time. That's an interesting take that I haven't considered, actually. Yeah.
I mean, I do that in my own
Noted.
way and watch YouTube on the side, so like I just thought that was an interesting question related to, you know, you've got the music and the things to play when you enter regions and stuff, but
yeah, I think a while back we were thinking about recording like a dev podcast to listen to what trend. But I think that was something that was kind of not something that we decided to go with just because, I don't know, it's hard to imagine players really wanting to listen to us talk. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying it now. But like, I mean, it's I think it's a space that we're watching. One thing that I've always been really interested in, I've tried to build radio stations in every game I've worked on because I think they're like a really untapped source of giving you kind of like customized tasks. Like, imagine if you were kind of like hunting for a bit and you're like, man, I'm not really I want something kind of different. You turn on the radio, then the DJ kind of pops in and he gives you something new and some music and some info, and then you're back to it. I've always wanted to play around with that space. I don't think it's a super high priority for us right now. Like, I think we're still kind of still trying to work on a bunch of the more fundamental things. But I do think it's something that I'm very interested to have a mess around with for sure.
Cool. Are we going to cover the trophy mounts? Yes, hopefully, I think we're going to go through the patch notes here in something like 10 minutes. And then, hopefully for the last little while anyway, we'll jump into the trophy lodge, we'll play around with the base game mounts that are added with patch 8.4, whether or not you purchase the premium trophy mount DLC. And then we'll look at the premium ones, just kind of, see what your options are, what you can do with the special mounts, what animals can go on there. There's a ton of options. I have spent so many hours just in my trophy lodge, like, trying to make it look good, and I have so much more time that I have to spend to really get it where I want it. But it's an excellent step in a direction that I think, was kind of needed as far as the trophy lodge and stuff goes. Is that, like, I know you guys have, different rules and everything, but is that anything that you guys were involved in?
Yeah, very much so. And I think that's a really good way of putting it, like steps in the right direction towards, trying to service an area that we know kind of needs some love and people have a lot of love for, just want to be able to use more. So yeah, hopefully the free patch things will bring some nice things that people will get excited about and show our intentions. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
We want to hear a lot of feedback on the socials as well. Like, we're kind of dipping our toe into some new content, right? This is kind of a bit of a new pack. And this is really pretty. I know it's a little bit of patting ourselves on the back, but I didn't make this look pretty, so I can at least say that I think the team did a good job on this forest that was gorgeous. But like, I think if you like the memes, please let us know. If you don't, trust me, we know. I think it's we just want to hear what you say and kind of your suggestions for the future, and then that's something we can look at as we go. I do think that I do think for this pack, like, we did kind of do a bit of testing to try and make sure it was stuff that people wanted. But if we I see absolutely no reason why if this one does well, we would do more in the future. But that's not a promise. I don't make this decision. But yeah, have a look. If you like it, please let us know.
Well, there you have it. Because I will say this much, I like it. I just think being able to make the lodge your own as much as is feasible, right? Like, put whatever species I want here. Like, I don't necessarily want to be limited by, I've got to put a small species here because there's a small plaque. Well, now I can throw the branch mount and I can put a fox or a coyote or a turkey or whatever. Like, it's opened up so many different options to where nobody's lodge is going to look the same now.
That was one of the main goals, I think, was just like, how do I feel like my lodge reflects like me and also my unique story, right? Like, what have I done? What have I hunted? What am I proud of? How do I get that to reflect that and not be sort of a limitation on expressing that stuff? So yeah, I hope it steps in the right direction. I certainly think a little bit more freedom wouldn't hurt, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much we can do with that space, right? Like, I mean, it's like the biggest way we can recognize, like the biggest space we have to recognize kind of what you're doing. I think there's so much opportunity for the future for what we could do there. So yeah, share that feedback.
Yeah, I love it. It's definitely, it's my, like, reason for putting in the hours into the game I do. Being able to hunt for the rare trophies that you've talked about a couple of times today, and, like, putting in so many hours to do that, and then display them in, like, a really cool and unique way.
I think it's always a challenge because you want to get that balance between, like, making animals for you to put in the trophy lodge versus building the trophy lodges. Like, I think it is something that can be very costly time-wise, and therefore I think when it comes to kind of allocating resources, it can be a difficult ask sometimes, because it's like, would we rather spend this much time on lodges versus making more reserves, right? Like, that is a kind of a decision that someone much smarter than me has to make, and then it feeds down. But I think the level of feedback we see from the community really helps shape that. I think that it's something we're very aware of. Like, I think people are asking for other lodges, people are asking for lodge improvements. We do hear you, and it's always a decision we have to sacrifice something for. Like, if we work on something else doesn't quite happen, right? Because we need someone to put on these kind of things. So, I guess we'll see what we manage to make going forward. I hope people like the new free update and a few of the premium stuff as well. Do purchase that.
Cool. So I think, unless I'm mistaken, right, we shot a badger, we shot a pine marten, we shot a mink, we shot a red grouse, and did we shoot? I think we did, right? Yeah, we shot a couple of woodcocks. So we have had all the new species. We shot a wild boar, we shot a red deer, and we shot roe deer. So we've had all the reworks as well, at least in some capacity. The woodcock, we shot like 10 of right at the start of the stream. They were everywhere. But that was something I wanted to make sure we did, was kind of go through all those and get to see all them. And I think what we might do, as we kind of hunt around, is dive into the patch notes some, because I'm sure there's going to be questions with that. I've seen a couple of questions too regarding pop resets. I don't think there's any. I didn't see it in the patch notes.
I think that's something we've started to stop doing. Vivi announced earlier today on Discord that we know pop resets happening for this particular piece of content. If you get the chance, mate, as well, maybe we could head towards the Uavor, the big cave, if you get the chance on the map. I think that's on the west front there, just on the west shore.
This here?
You see where Panga is. I think is that Uavor? I can't quite see.
It's just shows unknown since I've not been there.
Unknown. Let's have a look. I think it's around that area.
Okay.
Let's go out. Let's go over Recce.
Awesome.
As we would say where I'm from. But yeah, no pop resets, I think, as it stands. And I would obviously look at the official Discord and talk to VV, who knows much more about this kind of stuff than I do. But that's what they posted earlier today. So.
Yeah, that's good. Like, I'm sure there are people with hundreds or thousands of kills in particular species that they really don't want to see get reset, so no pop resets. So we got about a 1.25 km run or so perhaps while we're heading down there, as long as I'm not tripping over rocks while I tab out, I want to hit a couple of the patch note highlights. So let's pull that up. Okay, so I think I'm going to list the species just for people that are new or haven't seen the trailers or anything. There are 17 species, 5 are brand new, 3 have remodels. So the new species, American mink, Eurasian pine marten, European badger, Eurasian woodcock, and red grouse. You've got the remodeled species, wild boar, roe deer, and red deer. As we move through these patch notes, by the way, there's more with those remodels, but I'll just leave that till we get to that point. And then there are sika deer, fallow deer, feral goat, western capercaillie, black grouse, pheasant, Eurasian widgeon, mountain hare, and red fox, all returning. And this was a question I've seen some people ask. So you've mentioned the species list, and you start with like 30 and you work your way down. Was there any species that got left off that you really wanted to add, or maybe like a returning species that got replaced by another returning species?
So there were some really interesting species. I don't know how much to go in case we use them in the future. I think one that
Fair enough.
I think people will really think about when it comes to Scotland that we decided not to have in the end was maybe to give some kind of bigger predator. We wanted to do like the Eurasian lynx or like the Scottish bobcat. Okay. But I think it was in one of our rounds, either with the player council or with the consultant, that they were kind of like, this just feels weird. Like there's like 2 of these, like in real life. Like I think I know it's fantasy, but this just feels strange. Like I think it was just, and also like wolves or something that we also floated, but then that was also like, again, this just feels strange. And that was kind of like coming from the gameplay perspective. Like we wanted there to be some bigger predators. This is the big cave. We're getting towards it. Perfect.
Awesome.
We wanted there to be some larger predators and some aggressive things to kind of push back on the player to give a bit of a different feel. And I think in the end, you know, I think we just couldn't make it feel right. So it was something that like we went through all these different cycles with people, and they were just kind of like, no, it feels wrong. Just try and work without it, basically. So I think while the bobcat and the we also had a few sheep as well. I remember there was a few different types of sheep
Okay.
that the gamekeeper said, no, you wouldn't find them up here. You would find feral goats, because there was primarily a lot of the old goats left over from farming that had kind of become rewilded and feral, and they're like all over the place. You should replace them with those. So there's always that kind of conversation. But I think at the start, I think a lot of these animals are just to kind of like see what we can possibly achieve and what feels right. I think I saw one of the players like floating domestic Highland cow. I even think that's something that someone said, and I said that feels awful because that's just someone's cow. Like, you can't shoot that. That's weird. But I think we put it in there because we want to answer those questions, because that's game design, right? You want to kind of like be like, no, that feels weird. Okay, now we have a better idea of what feels good. I think you have to stick all this brainstorm and to kind of make people feel there's no stupid ideas, because then how can you come up with the cool ideas if people are scared to kind of talk about stuff? So I think that's why we have such a big spread, basically, to try and whittle them down and find what feels right.
Cool. Yeah, the Highland cow.
I really wanted pheasants.
I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I really wanted pheasants. I got this into Salzweissen, so I'm from the countryside. I'm from a farming community, and I remember hitting a pheasant so hard, so big. This was a great one pheasant for sure with my car. That it left huge. It actually. I think the pheasant was okay, and my car was not. I attempted to harvest it with my car, and the pheasant harvested me, I think. And so when it came to Florian in Salzweissen, I wanted to have this kind of. My initial first draft of the missions was hunting this kind of legendary Great One pheasant that destroys cars. And I even got the world design team to have like Florian's wrecked car that had a collision with the pheasant, and you had to basically then go and avenge Florian's car for him. And there are still some elements left in the story. If you play Salzweissen now, you'll hear him talk about like the road rage of the pheasant and to scream at the pheasant that it broke his car, even though his car isn't there anymore. That's just kind of something that got left in. And when it came to doing Scotland, that's much closer to where I'm from. So I was like, okay, finally we can get revenge for my car for the second time through multiple reserves. So I hope that when you're driving pheasants, you'll think my bonnet. And avenge the absolutely gigantic Great One pheasant I kind of ran into in real life, because they're huge and also they're really stupid. Like I think it's tough not to end up hitting at you in real life.
I like just hearing this for the first time. Like I didn't know any of this stuff. I love how you write so much of your life experience into these things. It's super cool.
That is.
Yeah, I'm psychotic. Yeah. Like I think most of the little things that pop in are from real life. Like if you're from the UK,
awesome.
You'll see a lot of references to stuff that I grew up with in Scotland as well. You'll hear a lot of very specific things that from living around kind of council housing in Scotland when I was there as well. You'll hear a lot of some slightly more blue language from my time there, but also even going back to my Angler reserves. From my Angler reserves as well, I think a really important part of writing is not what you write while you're at work, it's what you write after you finish. So it's important to have hobbies, to dance, to walk, to free your mind, to really be able to come up with cool ideas. And in the first Angler reserve, there is a line that got picked up by a bunch of people where the warden talks about these chipotle cheese chips that he kind of like, he had as like a colostomy bag because he carried them around with him everywhere. And that was from, I had my favourite chipotle cheese chips that they stopped making, the Estrella ones in Sweden. And I missed them so much I found it difficult to really bear. So it kind of came through in my art, you know. And it kind of came through. So like a lot of the things that you find, the weird stuff and parts of my humour, will be stuff that I want to express. And I'll write in a big... I think to this day, the thing that I'm proudest of is the two wardens in the Spanish Reserve and the Angler, where I put so many of the random little stories and banters that I experienced in my life into that. And to this day, I think it still remains, I think, some of the best dialogue I've ever written, which is a shame because obviously, you know, not as many people get to see it and hear it or really enjoy it, you know, but it's good for me. So
that's awesome.
I saw
and
it
here we
come
are.
up in
So
chat.
this...
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go on. Actually, I'll let you finish. I'm going to talk about the cave, though, as soon as...
Okay, I was going to say, I saw it come up in chat, and my brain did the exact same thing. As soon as you mentioned the pheasant in the car, it's like, that's where that came from.
I hope I get the chance to go on streams so I can share with a little bit of the weird things I use to kind of follow back through my life. But this was interesting. So I think a lot of people who know Scotland will recognise this place. This is Finkel's Cove. But like, when we make locations, number one, we don't want to just use locations because of legal reasons. Like, we want to be able to tell stories about them that don't exist in real life. And a lot of these things will be natural places. They'll be places that people care about. It feels really weird to not put our own spin on things. But also, we talk to people who are involved in the land management in a lot of the locations, and they'll be like, well, let's just say if this place actually did exist, what would it be called? How would they name it? Where would its name be derived from? Like, there's a lot of effort that goes into it. And for this one in particular, this was retextured as Uav Vor, which is the big cave. And if you look at a lot of like these old Gaelic things, it's very much that kind of thing. It's very descriptive. But we, instead of like spinning it, Fingal's Cave is known for Finn McCool, the legendary giant of the Giant's Causeway, that kind of spans the top of Northern Ireland and Ireland in general, which is this kind of giant who journeyed from the western coast of Scotland through a cave that apparently would go underneath the sea to the top of Ireland. And so we kind of took our own spin on it, and instead of it being about this kind of fictional giant, sorry, not fictional giant, I'm not going to say it's fictional, a giant, mythical giant, it's about more this kind of incredible sound, this kind of resonance, this kind of soundscape that people use to compose albums. And I kind of like made this kind of tale about, you can still hear the voices of the first people that found this cave. The people that kind of called this cave the Big Cave. As they left, as they said hello, as they sang, as they recorded all of their times in here, the echo still remains. You can still hear it, and as you go in, maybe you'll find the first ever people to come here, right? That was kind of the basis of my legend that you can read in the game as we talk about it. So that's a very long-winded way of the way we kind of construct these things. We take stuff you love, stuff you know, put a little bit of a different spin on it, and make it a new legend. And thankfully, the sound team were real super cool with it, and they made us such a cool soundscape that you can chill it down here.
It's got almost like an eerie. I almost felt like I was gonna get jump scared for a second when the voices started. Like it's got an eerie feeling to it.
Like I guess the only downside is that it doesn't really interface with the hunting experience. Like, there's not a lot of stuff will come down here for you to hunt. That would be a cool thing, right?
Yeah.
I think it was kind of fun on the angler, how obviously you could fish down here. So that was a little bit of a payoff. So I'm always looking for ways to kind of marry these legends and cool locations a bit more with what it's like to actually hunt in them. And that's something that we always look at going forward. But I do think that it's kind of nice if you want to take a bit of a break from hunting and you want to just go chill out and drink in a bit of ambiance and go through this cave, then hey, it's here for you.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those things where you're hunting along like, oh, there's a landmark I haven't discovered, and then ending up in here like, I can't help but just walk through it slowly and listen. Super cool.
Yeah,
come out over here.
I'm always scared of how much my crazy dreaming makes work for all the other people who have to actually make the stuff. Because obviously we're quite a small team, and everyone has to make stuff. I go in the editor and help move stuff around. But I think a lot of the recipients of my whims are the poor mission designers and sound designers and all these people who then have to make sure all this stuff properly works. There's one of the missions, I'm not going to spoil which, that contains a unique mechanic that we haven't really had in the game before. And I was working with one mission designer at the time, and we were like, great, this is so funny, this is so cool, we're going to put this in the game. And then they transferred to a different project or a different reserve. And then another mission designer got the task of actually making it work. And it was so horrendous to actually get it working. But I felt so bad for them. It was so buggy because it was something we hadn't done before and had to be made from scratch. It all works now, but it has been a labour of love. I'd love to give it a shout out when people play the missions, and I don't want to spoil what it is. Maybe if you're playing it, you can find out what it was. But it caused them so many issues that I felt pretty bad. Not bad enough to actually make it myself, but still bad.
Yeah, I can't wait to run into that. So, let's see here. Was there anything else with the cave that we wanted to touch on?
I think I had my little segment on the cave. I hope people like it and have a good time just chilling. And yeah, it's a nice little break before you get back off the hunt. So.
Need to see if
There's
someone
a few
can set up
locations
a
like
driven
that.
hunt and send animals into it.
Yeah, that'd be great. This is gorgeous, actually. Again, I can say that. I think it's if the world designers were saying it, I think that would be really cocky of them. But they really captured a lot of that kind of coastal region. Like, there is obviously, when it comes to making these maps, we typically pick a few of these kind of like special locations, and then they get kind of whittled down of what we can actually achieve. And I think there's this one. There is the, I think we call it St. Guthrie's Isle, is the name I gave it. But that's based on a kind of a graveyard island in real life, where the chapel was burned down, and so just the graveyard remains. And it's this huge kind of overgrown graveyard. There's kind of a version of that we've kind of reimagined. But there was also some other really kind of key locations to do with Scotland. Like, I think there is a certain show to do with wizards where they go on a big steam train. And that steam train, is it a show or is it a movie? Who knows? But there's a big steam train there that's very famous around the area, that kind of area of Scotland that kind of Fort William area we were looking at. And I think at one point I was kind of like, great, can we get a steam train? And then the artists were like, no, maybe not a steam train. But hey, who knows? Who knows if we'll have a steam train in the future, but probably not. But I think it's, you want to get these kind of key locations. And they are a lot of work. Like, the castle was something we had to have in the game. And that was a real labour of love from our artists. And there's even a few locations that we've purposely not mentioned that were like passion projects from artists that you'll find in the game, which we purposely kept as surprises. Because I think that's one thing that we're really aware of, is we don't want to just tell you all this stuff up front, and then it gets kind of spoiled for you. There are a few special locations that aren't even marked on the map that have been kind of labours of love, that have their own special spin on them, and I hope you like it.
Yeah, it's an adventure, right? Like, gotta go out there and find it. So,
yeah, I hope so.
It's really cool to hear like all the behind the scenes and everything too, like knowing what goes into it. Like there's so much more than I ever could have imagined, certainly just from my 12,000 foot view. But by the way, guys, the patch notes are available if you want to read them. We're not going to hit every single thing there. Nightbot's been posting them in chat. I think along with kind of everything coming with patch 8.4 and the Scotland update. Couple other things that I did want to hit on. We know there's the new Great One. The Wild Boar Great One coming with 9 fur variations and many variations of tusks built with our True Rack system. Now, this I didn't know until literally, like, I read this a second ago when we were walking through the cave. So that should imply that not everybody's, let's say, like, curled back tusks are going to look the same. There's going to be some variation within them, I think, too.
There's lots to
So
discover.
are you talking about the True Rack tusks?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there'll be some variation there you'll be able to find.
Awesome.
But not. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're not present on a lot of the non-great ones. Like, I think it's just.
Gotcha.
I think just the great ones will have some of those True Rack tusks. But that'll really make it a unique trophy.
Yes,
like,
definitely.
There'll be so many different variations if you manage to get one. I think that'll look incredibly cool.
That's a huge deal. Like, that really is.
I think the True Racks is. When we first built Call of the Wild, that was kind of the big USP, right? That was the thing that kind of separated us. And I know different games have done it since, and I think it's really nice to have these, not just like racks per se, that we have the chance to kind of like have procedurally generate a little bit, but also like, ram horns, tusks. Like I think there's a lot of animals out there that we could extend this to get really unique trophies.
Definitely.
So it is exciting.
Yeah, that's massive in my opinion, because I think that's the first tusked animal of any kind, unless I'm just completely forgetting something. I think that's the first with any sort of True Rack influence.
I think so. I think you're right.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
I always feel that people expect us to know everything. Like, there's just so many different disciplines.
No, I get that.
I have my hands full doing my job, but no one has messaged me. No one has messaged me to say I'm wrong yet. So let's go with that.
If anyone's yelling at me, they're doing it silently, so I think we're good. So I mentioned or teased earlier with the remasters, Red Deer have 3 new fur variations. They're not listed here, so you guys got to go out and find them. And it also, there's adjusted likelihood of all furs appearing, so I assume that refers to like how likely an albino spawns versus a mela or anything like that. Wild boar, similarly, 2 new fur variations. That's, of course, not counting the fabled ones. And same thing, adjusted likelihood of furs appearing. And roe deer, with their remaster, have 2 new fur variations as well. So I thought that was a big deal. That was something I definitely wanted to highlight. It's the same thing with the trophy lodge and spending all those hours and stuff. Finding those super, incredibly rare things to add to your lodge. Even more of them to go after. What else? There was something on here that I thought was big. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, not my bad. Yeah, no, I think it's also just nice to, these animals are kind of widespread in a lot of different areas, so it's nice to kind of just make sure that there's new cool things to hunt in a lot of different places, basically.
Yeah, go back to, many of the other maps, too, that have the remastered species, and it's a whole new experience. So, there's this thing that I think is huge. This is for Xbox. There's a save file backup system, so it's similar to like what's already enabled for PC players, so that should at least help with any, catastrophic save file corruptions and all that kind of stuff. So, love to see that, like even, things that are not directly on Scotland and all that, but making a massive difference as well. There is also another huge thing. Where's that at here? Let me find it. Well, I'm missing it, but I know what it is, so... Oh, it's right there. Ammo unlocked. Okay, so for 12-gauge birdshot and slugs, it no longer requires the shotgun skill. So you don't have to get whatever it is, 1,000, 2,000 shotgun skill as a new player to have birdshot and slugs. So you're going to be able to hunt rabbits, ducks, geese, and all those things pretty much right off the jump. And you're not going to have to suffer through with buckshot to get those things unlocked. So that's a massive new change too. If you're a new player, or if you're not a new player and you've never bothered with a shotgun skill because it's kind of annoying to do, there you go. You'll be able to bird hunt. If you get the Scotland DLC, maybe Ben can pronounce this. I'm not even going to try. The new shotgun, how do you say it?
It's the Battle Hog.
I was close then, okay.
That's the one? Yeah, you're good. Not actually, not a Gaelic word. So I think I don't think it's a secret, but I think a lot of the weapons are named after people on the dev team. So it always really makes me laugh when I'm watching community creators and they're like, man, I really like the Malma. It's such a good gun. And obviously I work with the person it's named after. So I always think it's really hilarious hearing people talk about it. It is whenever I watch content or play the game, I always think of the people guns are named after, which I always think is really silly, which is I think an in-joke that maybe people who just play the game don't get.
I mean, it's pretty big credit on the team to have a well-liked gun named after you. It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Now, personally, as a narrative designer, I think it's a defeat. Like, I want to name the gun. Like, I don't want people's parents to do the narrative design. It has to be me. So if I got a gun, let's say I got a gun, I'd call it something cool like the Nebuchadnezzar or something, or Beelzebub or something like that. Like, you've got to get a cool word because it's much cooler than my name, I think.
That's cool that they're named after, like, it's a lasting sort of legacy from, being on at the company and getting and like you said, especially when it's a gun that's popular, that's got to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just strutting around the office like, yep, everybody uses my gun.
Big time.
So there were a couple of bug fixes that I wanted to hit here real quick as well. There's more than a couple. There's a couple that I want to talk about. Again, you guys can read the patch notes. There's a big, long list of stuff. So the ones that I was interested in, red deer and bison trophies can now be placed on smaller trophy platforms. I think that's the platform, right? Not the plaque. So I'm not exactly sure what size that extends to, but that's cool. Like, you'll be able to have more variation in what you can place and where.
Yeah, I think it's basically like small things can go on bigger things. I think it's the easiest way of putting it.
Got it. And then I just thought this was cool. The willow ptarmigan red plumage, you guys might know, like the rare willow ptarmigan used to be called red. It is now erythristic, as that's been something that's been kind of added to the game more and more with wood ducks and pintail and Sort of spoiler, but I know somebody already got one. Red deer. Pretty cool. So yeah, that was what I wanted to hit out of the patch notes. We got about 15 minutes here, so I do want to jump back to the Trophy Lodge and kind of hit some of that stuff. I imagine, given the amount of things that there are, we could spend 15 hours in here, but we'll do our best. I see Mel over there with the hee. She got the characteristic red deer. You guys should watch it.
Oof.
So we're loading in. There we go. All right. So we're going to mess around with some of the plaques and platforms. Everything in here right now is set up with basically something new. Like, every plaque, every platform you see has been edited in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's the premium ones, whether it is the non-premium ones. We've got that stuff all throughout the lodge. Of course, there's the special mounts that I've got, like the fox and the pheasants on over here with the branches. I want to walk to the back of the lodge. That's got the rock mounts. And that's something that I hope only continues. And I'd love to see some of the special mounts like make it into the base game as well, because there's some really cool like base game stuff that you can do with the plaques. And again, we talked about like some of the changes where you can put red deer and bison on some of the smaller plaques, or platforms rather. But it's really, like, this is sick. I love this. And I hope there is a day where multi-mounts can go on these. Because, oh my goodness, like, more of this, please.
Really happy to hear that. Yeah, I think it was in a live Q&A, like, I don't know, I think this was after the Game Fears release, or around that time. Someone dropped a Discord link of a bunch of different people call them different things, but this person could refer to them as terror mounts. And there's so much cool stuff that you can do with these things. So yeah, I'm super excited to see more of these.
Yeah, it's everything I want in the Trophy Lodge. Again, like more customization, like being able to put I think they call it like habitat when you go to a taxidermist, like having the branches or rocks or bushes or whatever like in with the mount. It's sick.
It's a nice looking lodge you got here.
Oh, thank you. I can't tell if I'm freezing up. Like, is my connection in Discord good?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, you guys' cameras are... What if I click into Discord? Oh, it's the lodge. I see. Okay. Well, that might cause you guys' cameras to not want to work. But, I guess...
They know what it like.
Yeah. What if
I really like some of the new multi-mounts. I don't know if you had the chance to play around them as well, but the Call and Order is one of my favorites. I love that one. If you had the chance to mess around with it much.
Yeah, I've got it in the second lodge that we'll take a look at. I'm trying to see if I can... What if I go to full screen or not or something? That's just annoying that it freezes the cameras, but we'll have to... Nope, not going to do full screen at all. Nope. Did that unfreeze cameras? It did not. All right, well, what we'll do is we'll walk through here and take a look at some of these.
That looks sick.
The new UI is so nice. Like, the preview is really cool, so you don't have to, like, okay, I want to put it on this plaque, and I want to use, like, this camo. I don't have to apply and close every single time to go and look at it. Like, the preview shows you what you're looking at. So, I don't like that camo. Maybe I want something that represents Furhunga a little better. Do something that kind of has like a sort of sandy look. There's a Rancho camo as well. I think that is Virunga. Yep, the tiger stripe. And you can just so seamlessly go through and customize all that. And that's something I want to do, I think, is try to do reserve specific or, I don't know, maybe species specific, like something that's got antlers versus something that's got horns. Like, have those plaques represent that behind them. Because you can do almost like limit, like I can't imagine how many total combinations there are now with all these different options, but the number would be quite large.
Yeah, it's first steps, and I think there's like we've hit a critical mass of you can do a lot of stuff with it, a lot more things that you could do previously. So I think I'm pretty happy with where we got.
Yeah, I really like the fact that there's so many plaque shapes too. Like whether it's the base game ones that come with the patch, or if it's the ones that are just in the premium pack. you have a ton of options where you can make your lodge your own, and you can change all these sorts of things. If I wanted to, I could turn this into a branch mount. What the heck, I guess I'll do it. That then is going to bring us up all these options. We'll throw a leucistic turkey on there. Simple as that. We switch it over from a diamond wood bison to a rare turkey. Pretty darn nice. Alright, I want to... We'll pick this one. Just kind of like look at all the different plaques. We'll use the preview on the right for the sake of being able to... Oh, how interesting. When I'm in the customization screen, the cameras work? I don't know. That's fascinating. I'll just stay here. You guys can, like, move around again.
Nice.
Anyway. I want to say this was more or less the old plaque shape, I think. Like the standard.
I believe so, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, and then you've got more of like a rounded one. This is the closest to what I have in real life, like the plaques that I've got, most of the European mounts, which that'd be a cool thing. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Noted.
Sort of an arrowhead sort of shape, like it's got the part where the lashing goes around. Got like a rounded one, and then one that I'd say kind of combines the last two. Like there's sort of the like the structure on the outside, but it's not quite as round. Does anyone know when the update comes out? It's pretty far from now. Tomorrow. Comes out tomorrow.
It's a long way.
Long way away. Get ready.
I really hope we're going to see... I'll be, as much as is really healthy for me, I'll be occasionally nipping into to the Discord to see what people are saying about it. So,
for sure.
Be nice, please.
Now I'm excited to see everybody's like really getting to see it up close, because it is one thing to see it on the stream or in images or whatever. Like when you start to see the sheen of the gold on like the trim of the plaque and stuff, there's a heck of a lot of stuff you can just catch on to that just really makes you appreciate all the work that goes in and everything that, makes these maps and DLCs and updates what they are.
I'm looking forward to seeing some nice kind of playthroughs on the lodge. It'd be really cool to have like, those kind of shows on TV where they have like a makeover. I'd love to see like a YouTube series on doing like a lodge makeover for someone. Someone with a really bad lodge, you come in and jazz it up, and you'd be like, "This is your new home. Look at all this stuff you've got here." That'd be kind of cool.
That's an excellent idea. I like that.
Free content. There you go.
I'll start my series as soon as I can. The trophy rating underneath it, yep. So that is with the premium plaques, but the medal shows up on any of the premium plaques or platforms. You have to you need to get close enough to it. I don't know if that's resource saving or if it's sort of like almost a motion activated thing, but when you are within whatever the distance is, the medal will show up on those premium plaques and platforms. We should have some platforms in here we can show it on as well. And I think it's just the highest medal for the animals that are displayed in there. So this would be...
That's right.
What do we have in here? We have Tiger Takeout. So that's the silver Barasinga showing up as the medal there. Does it show both? Okay, it's a medal that shows on either side, but it shows the same medal, right?
Yep. Okay.
So what if we were to change this? There's the old standard one that was in the Seika Safari DLC, and then of course you've got all the non-premium platforms. I'm going to make sure I have no paint on that, so you can see what they actually look like without the wood grain paint. Bunch of options. I'm like really partial. This almost has that premium rosewood look, which is one of the ones that I'm using a lot. And then this one that stands up on like the legs and feet, just super clean. Shows really nice. And it's like a little bit elevated. Gives it a more sort of like clean look, I think. So, go into some of the premium ones. Same thing, I've got the paints off so you can kind of see exactly what's showing up there. This is probably my favorite one. Again, standing up high, but this has a really nice, some of the engravings and stuff. And the trim on the outside, so we talked about the plaques, right? Where you can see on the side, like there's the diamond moose, there is gold for the water buffalo, bronze for the wood bison, gold again for the Cape buffalo over here. I really like it on these platforms. It's just so clean. Like, it's super nice. But I still like this platform. I just love it. I don't know, something about like having the feet that it stands up on. It's a smaller profile thing. Don't look too much underneath there, or you'll see the Barasinga sticking underneath, but you had to screw it onto there somehow, so, you know, just is what it is on that.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks like it's kind of like a coffee table, and you've just got the most ostentatious coffee table decorations of all time.
Hey, that's a neat special mount idea, like almost
glass coffee table, yeah.
Get
a friend of mine has a Lego Millennium Falcon inside of his coffee table, so maybe you could fit a ptarmigan or like a pheasant in there.
There you go.
Yeah.
The wood grain looks sweet, yes. And so all of these cosmetics here, the wood grains are in the premium DLC. You've got the premium ebony wood, and again, you can see the preview on the right. You've got the premium mahogany, kind of going from darkest to lightest across here. You've got the oak, which I think is what I have back there now. The pine is really nice, especially for like darker fur animals. Like we've got this mocha diamond bantang here, so it really accentuates, it helps it to stand out. And as I previously mentioned, that rosewood is just, like, it fits anywhere. It's a beautiful, beautiful wood grain. Where's your metal, sir? Oh, I gotta get really close to that one.
Oh, that's interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I, like, there's a part of me that likes it where it's almost like motion activated. I'm guessing that it's more of a resource saving thing, but every time I go past it, like, yep, just activate my diamond metals. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the highest technology motion sensing. Like it's a feature.
And the motion sensors are in the nostrils, right?
Yeah, that's where you put them.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that way it's hidden. Do the wood grains also come with a pack? If so, can you use them on guns? They are just for the trophy lodge, right?
Yeah, these are just for the trophy lodge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they're, you know, designed to fit on those plaques too. Like you can see some of the knots in the pine, which nice little thing that's actually in there. Because if you ever use pine, a lot of little branches, lots of knots. And then the rest of them are a lot more, you know, smooth, clean grain throughout. Needs to scan your retina pattern. Yep, I'm sure that technology's in there too. If it wasn't you that shot it, it doesn't show up. But yeah, big fan. I'm going to jump back on Scotland here for the last couple of minutes, but big fan of the Trophy Lodge. Minus that. That sounds a little it'll wake you back up. But yeah, like the update, it's really, really nice.
When you're not looking, the animals come back to life. And that's the sound of them all just, you know, popping off the plane.
It's like what is it? Midnight on Christmas, the animals can speak.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as you leave the trophy lodge, it's just chaos in there. Putting all the trophies away.
Really excited to see what people think of all the trophy stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the images of people's great ones and all the diamonds and stuff. Really excited. I think there was a question in the chat a little while back about remastering the great one. I think although that hasn't been a thing that happens, I do think that the faces look a little bit different to kind of bring it in line with the. There's been a little bit of a polish, so yes. It's not like it's completely. You know, I don't think if you have a great one, you're going to feel left out. I think it's still going to look a little bit nicer for you.
I think I found myself in an infinite loop here. However, it is 12, so we may just stare at this badger. Was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on with the update that we didn't get to? Patch notes, something on the map, anything like that?
There was one thing in the Trophy Lodge, like it's also part of the the free update, but and maybe it's just the designer in me that gets really excited about things like this. But you can finally filter your trophies. I think that's
Yes.
going to be helpful for a lot of players. Yeah, yeah.
I found myself. I was looking for that diamond wood bison that I took down, and I thought, oh yeah, I can just filter through, and I found it right away.
Yep. No, that's going to make a lot of people's lives a little bit easier. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you're going through and spending hours redoing your Trophy Lodge, you can save a lot of time just by filtering through, looking for the specific animal that you're trying to get, or specific size of animal. You can go by class or whatever. Like, oh, I want a big animal here, but I don't know what. Filter by class 9, and you've got your water buffalo, your bison, your lions, all that kind of stuff.
And for rarity, which is going to be helpful
Yes.
as well. I know that's a big problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, just being able to, like, I know I've got an albino lion in here somewhere. Let me filter through. Yeah, it saves a ton of time there. A Santa outfit. Yeah, maybe next year. But, yeah, I think that pretty well covers everything.
Cool.
Yeah, please, I can't wait to see what you all make of it tomorrow. Please do post into socials, post Discord, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback on all the missions, even if it is a little, even if you don't like them, I'd like to hear it. And I just want to see what people find in Scotland. There's a lot of mysteries, a lot of unique things that we'd love to see what you make of it. So please let us know, and we will use all of this feedback. Well, now that Scotland's out the door, one of the teams will be starting to work on something new, and we obviously want to hear what you think so we can kind of react to it for the next thing we'll be making. So please stay in contact, and I really genuinely hope everyone has a good time, because a lot of love has gone into it. A lot of memories of of weekends away in the Highlands myself, and also my living in Scotland, and there's been a lot of real stories from various people on the team and things we think about and things we like, and I really hope you have a good time. So yeah, be in touch.
It's one of my favorite things, waking up release day morning and like there's already diamonds and rares and everything posted by the time I'm awake. It's awesome. So like big things coming. That is tomorrow. Scotland, patch 8.4, premium trophy pack DLC, all that stuff. You guys can get it. Huge thanks to Ben and Kyle for joining me today and having all the important informations. And shout out Vivi for helping me get this thing set up. It was quite interesting a couple minutes before we started. And
thank you. It's been a blast.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for hosting. You're a star, mate.
I appreciate it, man. You guys made it easy. You guys had all the information. All I had to do was tee you up. All right, so thank you guys again, and thank all of you for watching, and look forward to Scotland coming tomorrow on all platforms. Bye.
Happy hunting.